to send out. I've been traveling. I'm getting YouTube going now, you guys. But I've been traveling, so I'm a little out of sorts. I feel like I've not been over to see you guys forever. But it's always good to get away, and you're always a little bit better refreshed, I feel. Come on. I guess my fingers are too cold. There it goes. Okay. All right, let's see if we can get YouTube up and running. Hello, everybody on YouTube. Welcome. There's always a little bit of a lag, so it'll take me a second to get there. Okay, looks like we are live. Okay, all right. You got the alert? Okay, you know how you have things that you think about doing, but you can't remember, did you just think about doing them or did you actually do them? And that's what I thought today. So good. Thank you, Sharon, for letting me know. Hey, Teri. All right. There's Lourdes and Sue. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. So how is everybody? Like I said, it seems like it's only been a week. I've been gone for a week, but it seems like forever. So, okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Now, like I said, we are going to be making a fall table arrangement. And, my base is going to be this 30-inch evergreen swag. It's just a regular PVC pine swag. Nothing real remarkable, but I do like using these for my bases, for my centerpieces and arrangements. They're just real simple to use. All you got to do is kind of fill them in. And I even use these when it's not winter and not fall. Don't feel like you can't use them because they really do add a lot of fullness already. And, you know, like this time of year, we don't work so hard to cover up the evergreen. Of course, other seasons you would want to do that, but it looks like it'd be hard to do, but really, after you get all your goodies in there, it really comes along pretty quickly. I did go ahead, I wanted something a little bit more stable than just the, excuse me, just the bottom of the evergreen. So I did go ahead and I stapled it to this. It's just a wood plank. It's about 12 inches. And I put some footies on here just so that it wouldn't scratch anybody's table. Okay? Excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. So like I said, the inspiration for this is this spray I got from Select Artificials. It has it's non-traditional fall colors. And it has this, it's a coral, almost like a rust-like rose. Well, yeah, it's a rose. And then on the inside, there's almost a burgundy color to it. And then it has this peach rose also. The berries are the same. It has the peach and the burgundy and some creams in it. But the problem, I saw this at market, and I've got some, excuse me, and I thought it was pretty and unique. But then I thought, what am I going to put with it? So it's taken me a while to get items that are going to coordinate with it. But I think I found a winner, okay? Excuse me. All right, so first off, I found these. These are really pale. They're almost like a blush pink or almost like a blush coral. They're just ever so slightly tinted. They're not ivory. It might look like that on the camera, but is not. But they're just almost the shade of this outermost petal right here. And I found these at Hobby Lobby, so I've got a couple of those. I have also this greenery spray that you've probably seen me use before. It has all kinds of different leaves. It has this kind of a mauve colored grass, and that has some foxtails, little, I don't know if these are alums or pom-poms or what they are, and some leaves. And then I also have another pumpkin, and I don't know why, I've just been drawn to use this. I actually had some other pieces out that had a little bit more of this it's kind of an antique gold, but I just felt like it would just go with it for some reason. Stay with me. And I might use this ribbon also. This is actually a Hobby Lobby ribbon. Let me go ahead and open it. I've had it for a couple of years, but I've just not used it. But it has like it's kind of almost like ombre, and it has the antique gold to it, but then it also has this little hint of a rust or a peach or pink or something like that as you walk around. It's almost like holographic, but it's pretty cool. If I find some place I can use it, then we're going to use it. So that's what I've got so far, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and we'll get started. I'm going to drop you guys down. And as you know, I wish there was a good way to visualize a centerpiece coming along. But I hope this is a good angle here for you. I'll lift it up periodically too. Hey, Sally, how are you? And the first thing I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and put some greenery in it. And it's not going to take a lot. This spray actually breaks off into 3 separate pieces. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get the tag off of it. So how is everybody? Like I said, I've been traveling and feel like I've been out of the loop for a week. We've been doing grandma things. Took my mother out to Texas to see her newest great-grandchild. Took my middle daughter, which she hadn't met him either. That was fun. We don't get to spend a lot of time, you know, close like that together. It was really nice to spend some time with her and my mother. What have you guys been doing? You guys decorating for fall or Halloween? Skipped on to Christmas? Holly's what knows is spray from Hobby Lobby. No, it is not. It's from a wholesaler, Select Artificials. I got it at Market gosh, I don't remember when I got it. Either last time or the time before I got it. All right, and what I'm doing right now, I'm just fluffing everything, okay? I'm going to go ahead and cut up another one. We'll use one for one half and one for the other. And I've also fluffed the evergreen a little bit too. Not a whole lot, because I don't want, like I said, I don't want a whole lot of the evergreen to show. But it's okay if a little bit does. Oh, you're welcome, Holly. How are we doing over there on YouTube? Janet's finally catching me live from Alabama. Good for you. I'm so glad you're here, Janet. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I didn't have, it was kind of short notice. I have a text alert service where I will text people that are on that list to let you know that I'm going live, but it was kind of short notice today because I didn't know what time I'd be able to go until just a few minutes ago. All right, let's cut this one down and we'll be ready to go. And I should be working on Christmas tonight. But as I was going through, sorting through my Christmas, I saw this and I'm thinking, I have got to use this year. I'm not going to wait until next year to use this spray. Okay, all right, we'll get everything separated out here. Okay, now let's see, let me find the center here. Looks like right here's the center, so I'm going to kind of lift these guys up so I'll kind of know. And it doesn't have to be exact, but I don't want it to be grossly uneven, okay? Hey, Shirley. All right, and I'm just going to kind of play with them here a second. And feel like this one's the longest one. And then I've got, oh no, let me see. Okay, I've got 2 long ones and 1 shorter one, so I'm going to save the shorter one for later. Trim this down just a little bit. I'm just going to, let me just kind of eyeball it here. Okay, and see, just putting those 2 in is going to really cover a lot of this evergreen already. You get this leaf going the right direction. I'm just going to glue them in. Dipping it in my glue pot over here to the side. It feels like I need to get my glue a little bit thinner. All right, so let's start. I'm just going to slide this in underneath the evergreen, and I'm actually going to take one of these pine needles. I'm going to wrap it in between just because it's there, and that'll give it a little bit more stability. I think the glue would hold it just fine as also, but since it's there, we might as well, right? All right, let's get all the leaves going the right direction. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And the glue really does help hold anytime hot glue holds or hits evergreen, it just really does seal around there really well. But I'm just being extra cautious. I'm very, very big on mechanics. I don't want my things falling apart on my customer. So now I probably will take this last piece, the shorter piece, and I'll probably stick it down here, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to save that for later in case we have any holes that we have to cover. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing on the other end. Let me find my short piece and my two long pieces. Okay, and I'm looking, I've got this, I've got two different leaves on these sprays. I've got I've got the orange color, and then I've got the green color. I'm going to make sure that I put a green one over here, and that way I'm going to have a little bit more balance. It's not a deal breaker if I wouldn't, but still, I want it to be balanced. Okay, all right, and get a little bit of glue. Just slide that up in there. While I'm doing this, I'm making sure that on the ends that I'm about even. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I don't want it really lopsided either. Okay? All right, and where's my other long one? There it is. Shorten this down. Looks like that Facebook's having the comment problem again. All I see is Teri Z-Bart is watching. I see there's like 5 pieces on my screen that says that. I don't know why the comments keep disappearing, but I'll just keep on working. But just know that if you've got a question or something or a comment and I don't acknowledge it, it's because I haven't seen it. As I said, right now I don't see any comments at all since we very first began, on Facebook that is. But for some reason they had trouble keeping their comments coming. Okay, I'm just going to use some of these evergreens to hold this one. It's kind of wonky, wants to curl up the other direction, so I'm just going to use some of that evergreen to hold it down. Okay, so now we've got the base, the very first greens in. Okay, all right. Hi, Tanya. Thank you. Now I can see a comment. All right, and again, we're holding off on these 2 shorter pieces for later. Okay, all right. Now, I think the next thing I want to do is put in the larger pieces, and that would be our pumpkins. And let me kind of eyeball here. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm going to put the larger pieces in first, and I'm going to put the gold pumpkin in first. And I always like to make it where it's kind of angled, where it's not just straight on. If you can see that. Oops, let me look that up. You can see it's I'm going to kind of tip it just a little bit. And it just gives it a little more interest than if I was just to sit it on there. Okay? All right, so let me kind of eyeball this. I'm going to put my other 2 pumpkins here. Kind of space them out. Just Try them on for size. I always do like to do that before I actually commit myself. Okay, I think that's going to work. All right, so I'm going to put some hot glue right here. And again, you could put a skewer in this if you wanted to. If it seems kind of wobbly after I place it, then I will. But that hot glue just really does adhere on those evergreens really well. They just kind of melt on there. Hey Barbara, how are you on YouTube? Thank you for joining in. Okay, I'm going to hold that for a second here. Now, I know this is kind of non-traditional fall, but it seems to be popular, these colors. I haven't used this peach per se, but seems like a lot of non-traditional colors are really popular this fall. I think everybody's getting kind of tired of the orange and the bronze and all that. Do I want them this way, or do I want them... This one here's got a defect, so I'm going to be putting this where it's not going to show for sure. Let me see. I feel like they need to go this way, though. Let me see. I think they're going to fit a little better if I put them like this, though. Okay, I'm going to put this one like this. Again, I got to be sure that that one place is not visible, and we'll cover that up with some other goodies too, like some leaves or greens, flowers, something like that. Hi Angela, how are you? Okay, so I've got that one there, so let's see. I want all the stems kind of pointing in the different direction too. And this one's kind of tipping this way. This pumpkin's tipping this way, so I'm going to make the other one a little bit more opposite. So we'll set that one right down in there. Let me make sure I've got the right place there. I'm thinking to glue. So who all decorates with non-traditional colors this year? I am. We've got like a burgundy and orange and rust and kind of a gold color going on. All right, now, as I said, that we have that defect over on this pumpkin. I'm going to squirt just a little bit of glue here to make sure that that guy stays on his neighbor there and keeps that where it's not visible. I just got to hold it here for a second. What color is everybody decorating with this year? For fall, I'm talking about. All right, I'm going to take my needle nose pliers. I've got a little glue string in here. If I don't get it now, it'll be tough to get it later. Okay. All right, now this is what we've got so far. Like I said, I wanted them all different angles. Okay. So that's what we've got so far. Okay, now I want to go ahead and as I said, I've got this I really don't know what the color to even call this. It's all salmon. How about salmon? Let's call it that. But it's salmon, and this is more of a peach color. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to break this apart, and we'll put these florals in next. Trying to find a nice place for it to break. And that's one thing I look at whenever I'm looking at supplies. I always look to see how I can separate these out and make them into multiple pieces, because most generally I'm not going to just put all this one spray on, at the same time. I'm usually going to piece it out. Oh, Shirley says she's been using some blue with which she hasn't done before. Yeah, that's beautiful too. Actually, I had that in mind to do it, and then I started using the burgundy, and I changed my mind. But I like everything. You can probably tell that by the designs I make. I'm all over the place as far as my taste. Okay, I'm gonna place this over here right now and just kind of get a feel for placement, and then I'll turn it around and show you what I'm doing. Okay, I think that's going to work just fine. Okay. All right, I'm just going to sneak this on the other side, and then I'll show you what I'm doing. But I'm just going to sneak this underneath this pumpkin, kind of like this, on the other side. And I'm using my evergreen again to secure it. Once I get the evergreen ties secured, then I'll go ahead and glue it in. What should I do? I want it out that far. You know what? I'm gonna break this down even more. Separates out in a couple of pieces here. I'm just going to take this piece with the rose on it, what we decided was salmon. I should say what I decided. All right, I'm just going to take some glue and glue that in. And then, like I said, I'll turn it around and show you what I've done here. Okay. All right, I've just snuck that right underneath that pumpkin to fill in that space and break those colors up. Okay. All right, so if I've got one there, then I need to come over to this corner and do the same thing. So I'm going to get another one of those roses and the greenery that goes with it. Trimming it down. All right, and separate those off. I try to keep everything separated on my table so I know what goes where. Okay. All right, and this came apart here, so I'm going to go ahead and just take some tape and wrap around this real quick. Some floral tape. And that happens sometimes whenever especially when you're tearing them apart, but sometimes that tape will dry out a little bit. And all I do, I just take it and pull it. Once you pull it, then it activates it and it becomes sticky on itself. Okay. And I also need to get the price tag off, which I missed. I hope I got it off of the other one. Okay, and I'm just going to stick this, just the opposing side over here to keep it balanced. And again, I'm using the evergreen ties. Oh, thank you, Carol. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I just thought, I didn't think the, like a traditional gold would look good. But the antique gold works for some reason, and I don't know why. But it just kept calling me. You ever have things like that? It just keeps calling you until you finally do it. Like I said, I know you guys have seen that sitting over there on my table. Okay, so I just set that right there, right opposing. This one I need to place a little bit better. It's not wanting to stay up in there. So I want it hugged right up in against that pumpkin. Okay. All right. So that's what we have so far. Okay. Hey, Valerie, how are you? All right, now let's start. Now I want to fill in these sides here, and I'll go ahead and use these kind of, what do we decide these were? Peach colored. Is that going to look okay there? I think it'll be okay as long as I need to be sure that I break up these two colors here. Okay? All right, and so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take this, it's kind of falling apart, and I want this sucked up right up against that. I don't want a big hole there. So I'm going to place all of these independently so that I can put them where I want them. I am going to even out the bottom here though. Let me see, wrap that around. I want to make sure all my leaves are going in the right direction. Okay, I'm going to put this one in first. A little bit tricky doing this backwards, you guys, but I'm going to try to make it to where you guys can see. Okay, now what do I do with my, there's the greens. I'll lay these here so, again, so I can break up the color. I'm just dipping in my hot glue over here. Okay, and then this one I'm going to shorten quite a bit. Okay, all right, so it's just kind of, I don't want it that tight up in there, but that's good. I want a little bit of, like a little breathing space, I should say. All right, now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do the exact same thing over on this side. I still have some of these berries, but we'll place those later. Oh, thank you, Angela. Thank you, Janet. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys being here. I didn't know. I said I sent out my alert kind of last minute. All right, I'm just looking over here to see what I've got and how far out I need to go. Again, it does not have to be exact, but I don't want it real lopsided. Okay, stick this down in there. Okay, and now I'm going to take the leaf and do the same thing. Okay, and now the rose. So you can see we're just kind of encircling that main pumpkin here. And just kind of working outward from it. Almost as if it's kind of what we call a transition point, almost as if we had a big bow there. But instead, we're using a pumpkin. All right, didn't feel like I got a bunch of evergreen there. I'm going to stick a little bit more glue there on that one. my pliers and hold it up in there. Don't use your fingers. That hot glue out of the glue gun is really, really hot. Who all knows what I'm talking about? Okay. All right, so that's what we have so far. Okay. Okay. All right, now I think we need a little bit of floral down here also. Let me see what I want to do. I've got a couple more sprays. I think I'm going to put one of these over here. Actually, I'm just going to use both of them. What the heck, right? Season's almost over. Oh, good, Carol. Yeah, I love these evergreen bases like this. Love them. Trying to get this rose off of here. I hope I didn't tear it up. All right, I've got to try and get this off of here without tearing up this rose. I've already probably done it, but I'm just taking my knife and cutting the paper that's got these wrapped. There we go. All I want right now is the florals off of them. Okay, and I tore this up, so all I've got to do, remember that tape that we used? All I've got to do is wrap some floral tape around it and kind of sturdy it up. I don't know, I may even have to, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a pick on it. I'm going to put a wooden floral pick on it. It's just basically a skewer, and it has a little wire on here. I'm just wrapping that wire around the stem there, but I tore that, somehow I tore that wire out of there. Don't know how I did that. But and now I'm going to put a little dab of glue over the top of it, just to make it extra secure. I'm going to set this over to the side while I'm getting the other one ready, and then I'll come back and I'll wrap that with tape. Okay, so where's the other one? Here's this. So we've got that. Let me get this one. Okay. Try not to tear this up this time. You know, it tore apart pretty easy last time when I did that other one. But like I said, sometimes they dry out. That's just the nature of it. Let's see, let's put that there. Wish I could see my Facebook comments. I can see my YouTubers. Just can't see my Facebook. It's really frustrating. Okay, so these guys came apart just fine. All right, let's check on this guy. I think it's dry enough now, or cool enough now I can work with it. I'm just going to take my floral tape right over the top there. We're just going to secure that now. That glue just gives it just a little bit extra security. Like I said, I'm all about things not falling apart. Make sure your mechanics are good, because I like to have repeat customers. Okay, now what I was thinking, actually that's probably a little bit too long, but I'm thinking I want one of these over here. Let me back this up so you guys can see. Get some of the stuff out of the way. I want one of these here, and I'm thinking bringing the eye down this way. And then we'll take these guys, these little guys, and we'll bring it over here, and we'll break it up. We'll break it up with some greenery. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and glue these in now that I've got my plan. I'm going to shorten this stem just a little bit. I got a little carried away on the length there. I used a 6-inch, and I could have probably used just a 4-inch pick. I'm just dipping it in glue over here. Okay. All right, and we'll come over here on the opposite end, do the same thing. Yeah, like I said, I love using these evergreen bases. They fill up so quickly. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Okay. Hey, Bonnie, how are you? I miss you. That's how I am. I haven't seen you forever, Bonnie. How you been? Bonnie's a dear friend. Met her back several years ago. Seems like several years ago. And does all kinds of canning and like the pioneer woman. I think you need to have your own show, Bonnie. All right, let me see where I'm going to stick these. I don't want them just like right up here, right next to this guy. I want a little bit of break. I think that'll look good. Right about right in there. Let me turn it for you. I think it'll look good right in down here. And like I said, we're just kind of bringing the florals and doing kind of a slalom. Okay. Get a little bit of glue. All right, and I'm just going to stick this down in here. Try not to burn myself, which I did. Try and get the glue off my finger. All right, and I'm just going to reach in here. I'm going to take a couple of those wreath tie or evergreen branches and wrap that around that just to give it a little bit more security. Again, I don't want these on the same level. I want them kind of staggered, kind of like that. Okay. Oh, Phyllis is finishing the blue pumpkin wreath. Good for you, Phyllis. You'll have to share it with us. I can't wait to see it. All right, I'm just going to look at, kind of try this on for size, see about how far I want to put this. I think that'll work about right there. And again, let's wrap that with evergreen. Okay. All right, so that's what we have so far. We're getting there. Oh, thank you, Shirley. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Okay, now all I'm going to do is start filling in some holes. I've got all these berries. I've got some greens left. And I'm thinking, you know, remember those two short pieces that we had off of those sprays? I'm thinking they're going to work out just fine right down here at the very end, just to cover up that last little piece of that evergreen. Okay? Oh, thank you, Carol. Thank you so much. All right, so I'm just going to stick that in there. Okay, and again, we'll wrap some evergreen. Okay, all right, do the same thing down here. Actually, I think I'm going to cut this one off. It's just a little bit long. Let me trim this end off just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to dip it in glue. I knew there was a reason I bought this spray. Like I said, I was cussing myself because it was so hard to find things to go with it. But I think we found a winner, you guys. I'm loving this. I almost just put them all up for sale. Now I'm glad I didn't. You guys ever have stuff like that? Okay. All right. Oops. Thought that was dragging. I had that plier stuck on it. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Okay, still going to fill in some more holes. Again, we don't have to completely cover the evergreen, but you don't want like big chunks like this showing right here. So I'm going to start concentrating on that. I still have a lot of these greens left over from those sprays we used. And let's see. I think that'll fit in there real nicely. I'm going to turn all these leaves the correct way though. Okay, and as you can see, my pieces have come apart, so I'm going to tape them up. Now, another option would be too that I could also use like a steel pick to put these together, or a wooden floral pick, but I really don't like to use steel picks on a centerpiece like this because I just don't want somebody's table getting scratched. That would be terrible. Okay. All right, that's good. All right, I'm wanting this to go right along down here. Okay, I'm going to turn it this way so I can see. Yeah, that'll be good. All right, let me get some glue. And again, wrap some evergreen. Okay. All right, so that filled in that space nicely. Okay, we still have just a little bit of a hole there, but we'll deal with that. Thank you, Kathy. I'm going to do the exact same thing over on the other side here. Get these apart. And really, if I didn't have to be doing all this taping and picking and such, this really would come together pretty quick. I don't know how long we've been on here, but oh, thank you, Janet. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, just like I said, just the exact same place as we did before. Get a little, just trying to get a little evergreen down here so I've got some place to stick this. And wrap the evergreen. Evergreen is your friend. Okay. All right, so this is the other side. And again, we've got the, the same hole that we have on the other side. Okay? All right. All right, I'm just getting everything kind of arranged here. See where we need to go. I've got a lot of these berries also that we need to use. More of these greens. I'm just going to use these little, let's see how this breaks off here. I think I was just going to use these little pieces of evergreen here to fill in around these edges right here. They look like they're about the right size. I'm going to trim off the edges here. I think they're just the right size. Kind of fluffing it just a little bit so it looks a little bit more realistic. And I'll show you where I'm putting it when I'll turn it around here in a second. Okay? All right, I just put it right there. Okay, so now all our evergreen is covered on this side. Oh, Olivia. That's right. That's exactly right. And you know, I was looking at this spray, Olivia, and I was thinking, I think it would work for spring also if you would get rid of the like the orange, like the yellow leaves there, right there. I think it would work for spring. But I was determined I was going to use it for fall. Okay, I'm just doing the exact same thing I did on the other side here. Okay. All right, so I filled that hole there. Okay. Okay, now let's put in, I have these, I don't know what they are, almost looks like a very small hydrangea. I really don't feel compelled to use them. I am going to use these berries, I know, and I want to use up like this section right here. And then it got just the home for it. I'm going to separate these out. Get another piece too, because what I do on one side, I'm going to do on the other side. Okay, so I just tore off, or cut off these pieces right here. And right there where I put that, you know what, I started to say where I put that evergreen. I don't think so. I want to bring some of these leaves down here. I've got several of them around the pumpkin, but I think I want to bring just a little bit down here. Yes, okay. Just so they're not concentrated just in that one area. Okay, so I just brought those berries down there, and these leaves. We'll do the same thing on the other end. Dip it in the glue, wrap it around the evergreen. You guys know the routine now, right? Okay. All right, and see, there's hardly any of the evergreen you can see now. Okay, thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. Hey, Linda, how are you? Thank you for joining in. Okay, now we're just going to fill holes in. I do want to sprinkle these berries through. I really like the texture and the color that it gives. I'm going to trim this off just a bit. And I'm thinking we'll put some right here. Maybe, there we go. Right in here, maybe up a little bit further. Okay, just gonna get some glue. Okay, I just put that right there to kind of fill in that hole right there. So I did it here, so I need to come over on the other side. Okay. And find a hole here. Oops. Got that stuck on that petal there. If you get the glue off right away, it'll come right off. Don't let it set. Okay. I'm spreading these petals out on here. It looks like sometimes in the manufacturing, these petals get layered right on top of each other, and they're actually supposed to be a little bit more layered. And just take them and kind of swing them around. Okay. Actually, I want these to go down that way. All right, here I got everything kind of crammed in there and all glued together. Now we're good. Okay, sorry about that. There's what we got so far. Okay. All right, now I've got, let's see, just a few more berries. So let's find places for them. I think we could use some right along the side here on both sides. Looks like I could separate this into, what, 3 pieces. So let's find homes for these. Let's see. I'll sneak this one just right underneath this pumpkin over here. I'll show you what I've done. Just right on top of that evergreen that we placed. Yeah, I'm getting bad. Now I hit my pumpkin with the glue. Okay. All right, so I just stuck it there underneath that pumpkin. Okay. Turn around this way. Actually, I think I'm gonna tear that into 2 pieces. It feels kind of heavy there, and I feel like I need another piece going the opposite direction. So I'm just going to glue this. I'll show you what I mean here. Instead of that large piece, I broke it into 2 pieces and put one here and one here. Just going in opposite directions. I'm going to do the same thing on this other side. Okay. We're almost done, you guys. Just want to finish using up these pieces here. I don't like to have a lot of stray pieces left over. Okay, like I said, we just did the same thing on the other side. Just kind of broke up those 2 pieces right there. Okay. All right. Oh, thank you, Kim. Thank you. I've got one more. Do I want to put it? I feel like I got kind of a hole down here. A hole there. Actually, I've got some leaves that we can use to fill those in right now. Yeah. Those will work. I'm going to shorten this up. Sneak that right underneath of that pumpkin. Make sure I don't want it covering up my rose though. Okay. All right, so that filled that one. Let's do on that same thing on the other side. That's not the same one, this one. I still have several more berries that we could put in here too, but I don't think we need them. And this will go right in there. Still just not liking the way this rose here is falling with this little, actually I just went ahead and pulled it out. I'll place this someplace else. I just didn't like the way it was sitting for some reason. It just didn't want to lay right. I think it was just getting squashed with that little ball or whatever that thing is, this little pom-pom. And I want some separation here. There we go. Okay. I think we're done, guys. It all came together. I was wondering, you know, if we wanted to, we could always add that ribbon I showed you. I don't think we need it. We could always put some little ribbon tails here and there, but, you know, you don't always have to have a ribbon. Oh, thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you, Angela. Okay, I'm going to raise you guys up. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Like I said, I know it was short notice and not my usual day for going live, but you know, my schedule's been kind of messed up with travels and all that this week. But I think it turned out really pretty. I really like it. I wasn't so sure when I started, but I really like it. Oh, thank you, Glenda. I didn't even see you out there. Or you, Connie. Thank you, Holly. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody on YouTube as well. I really appreciate it. Okay, and as always, when I'm going live, I always put a link in the comments in case anybody wants to purchase this. I do have it listed in my Etsy shop. That link will take you right to the listing, and we get it on its way to you. Okay. Oh, thank you, Pat. Thank you. Thank you, Shirley and Carol. Okay. All right. Well, that's all I have for you this afternoon. Thanks again for being here. I really, truly appreciate it. And I'll be going live also. If I don't go tomorrow, it'll be Friday at my regular time. That'll be about 12 o'clock Friday afternoon. I don't know what we're going to make. I do need to get going on Christmas, but like I said, I really wanted to use these sprays for fall. And I might even put it on my table if it doesn't sell. So, okay. All right. You guys have a great rest of your evening, and